Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Chris.
I'm Jasmine.
We're Sweet Simple Vegan. We're back with a holiday video today in the spirit of the season. Got my Christmas sweater on. Feeling good.
Today we're sharing 2 entree recipes that are perfect for the holidays, perfect any parties you're having, or you just want to have a nice dinner at home. They're perfect.
These are good because they feed a lot of people because you can make a big tray of it. And so what are we making? We didn't even say it.
So we are making 2 pasta bakes today. The first is a stuffed shells recipe with some homemade vegan ricotta cheese.
Ragout.
And spinach. It's very good and actually really easy to make.
Super easy to make. Super delicious.
Mm-hmm. And then the second recipe we're making is a white lasagna. So it's basically the lasagna without a marinara sauce, and it's made with a homemade vegan mozzarella cheese sauce. We got some vegan ricotta in there, a mushroom mixture, some spinach. It's really good.
Really good. So these are both 2 delicious recipes. Growing up as an Italian, I always had pasta at least on Christmas Eve, and then usually on Christmas Day. We had usually just like spaghetti and like meatballs and stuff, and then like calamari.
Calamari for us non-Italian folk.
Non-New York Italians.
Non-New York Italian.
Very specific. So this was a cool thing to include, and I think we'll probably make this a holiday tradition.
Yeah. So I guess let's just get into it. The first recipe we have today is some stuffed shells with vegan ricotta cheese and spinach. The first thing we're making is a flax egg, so I'm just mixing flaxseed meal with water and setting it aside for about 10 to 15 minutes to thicken. To a food processor, I'm adding in some firm tofu. No need to press this, just drain the package and add it straight in, along with some miso paste, olive oil, some nutritional yeast, of course, for that cheesiness, Italian seasoning, salt, fresh lemon juice, and I'm also adding in some garlic powder. We do sometimes add fresh garlic, and you could totally do that. Just keep in mind it'll be a bit stronger. All you have to do is process this together until it is nice and combined, nice and uniform, and it'll become vegan ricotta cheese. So once that is all done, I'm going to transfer that to a large bowl and mix it together with the rest of the filling ingredients. So we have some vegan mozzarella cheese. You can use any brand that you would like, along with some frozen spinach that we thawed, and some seasonings. I have salt, pepper, onion powder, and red pepper flakes. Fresh herbs, I'm using basil and parsley here, and lastly, the flax egg that we prepared earlier. So we're just going to mix everything together until it is nice and uniform, and that's it for the filling. All you have to do now is just transfer this into your cooked shells. And to make it a bit easier, I suggest you try this. We transferred ours to a piping bag with a large tip, and this way we were able to pipe the filling directly into the shells. It made it a bit cleaner and faster, but it isn't necessary. If you don't have this, you can totally do it by hand. Grab a large baking dish, and what we like to do is add about half of the sauce that we're using to the bottom of it. You can add all of it as well, but I'll show you what we're gonna do with the rest later on. Just spread it out until it is nice and uniform. And this is what I was talking about earlier. We're using a piping bag to fill the shells. It is so much easier and a lot cleaner. So just fill up as many shells as you can. We were able to fill up 24 shells with 1.5 tablespoons per shell, but it'll depend on how much you put and how many shells actually fit in your baking dish. And as you can see here, I kind of scooted these shells to make more room for more. I was able to fit 24 comfortably in here. So grab the remaining sauce and just ladle it over the shells. I like to do this because it brings more moisture and flavor into the shells, and I just like how it looks. You could have totally just added all of the sauce to the bottom of the dish and placed the shells on top, whatever floats your boat. And the last step is to just sprinkle this liberally with some vegan cheese. Add as little or as much as you'd like. I suggest kind of going crazy with it because it makes it so delicious. And once you have coated it, the last step is to just cover it, pop it into the oven, and you've got yourself these beautiful baked shells. You can serve these with some more fresh herbs on top and maybe even a sprinkle of vegan Parmesan cheese, and you're good to go. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and let's move on to the next one. The second recipe we're putting together today is a vegan white lasagna with mushrooms and spinach. So to start, we're going to soak some raw cashews, so add them to a bowl and top them with some boiling hot water, and allow this to sit for 20 to 30 minutes or until it becomes soft. Once the cashews have soaked, we're going to drain them and add them to a high-speed blender along with some unsweetened almond milk. You can also use any other unsweetened non-dairy milk of your choice, lemon juice, some liquid smoke, which is optional but recommended, and nutritional yeast, along with salt, garlic powder, and smoked paprika. And the last ingredient is tapioca starch, and this is what helps give the cheese that nice gooey texture. Highly recommend you don't skip this, so just blend until it is smooth and set that aside. Next, we're going to prepare our mushroom filling. So I have some onions here along with garlic. I'm going to saute this until it becomes nice and fragrant. And then I'm going to add in some celery and carrots, and again, cook that until it becomes nice and soft. I'm also going to be adding in some roughly chopped mushrooms. You can use any mushroom variety of your choice, or even a mix if you have that available, along with Italian seasoning and salt and pepper as desired. And we're just going to cook this down until they become about half their size and all of their juices cook off. And once the mushrooms have cooked down, we're going to just set that aside and prep our ricotta cheese. So this is the same recipe that we prepared for the stuffed shells, so I didn't show you again, but just keep that in mind. And I'm also adding in some thawed frozen spinach, and you can also add seasonings as we did for the stuffed shells. I didn't add it for the sake of simplicity in this recipe, but you could totally go crazy with it, add whatever you'd like, and make it your own. So just mix this together until it is nice and uniform, and then set it aside. And now it's time to assemble. So in a large baking dish, I'm adding a little bit of the cheese sauce. You don't need too much here, just a couple tablespoons to add some moisture to the bottom, and it doesn't need to completely cover it. I used a spatula to just spread it out as much as I could, and then I topped it with some no-bake lasagna noodles. Just make sure they're vegan and they don't have any eggs in them. And I added only 4 to the bottom, but later on I started adding 6 to the layers. You'll see that. It's depending on whether or not you want a lot of noodles and the size of your dish, so just trust your judgment here. Once we added the noodles, I'm going to add in about 1/3 of the mushroom mixture. Just spread it out as evenly as you can. It doesn't, again, need to completely cover it. And then I added in some of the cheese sauce, again, about 1/3 of the cheese sauce. And then lastly, about 1/3 of the ricotta spinach mixture. And then I just continued this and I did 3 layers of each. So I added 2 more layers of noodles and 2 more layers of all of the other components. And I also did get a shot here of the 6 noodles just to show you guys what I was talking about earlier. And last but not least, for the top layer, I actually did the cheese sauce last. I wanted to just kind of lock everything in with the cheese on top. I hope all of this made sense. I'll have all of the info in the blog post linked down below in the description box. Pretty easy to do. After you assemble this, we're going to pop it into the oven. You can cover it if you want the top to be creamier. Again, those notes are in the recipe blog post, and that's it. Once it's baked, just allow it to cool a little before serving so it's easier to cut and dig in. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Hope you enjoyed the video.
If you did, thumbs up, comment down below.
Say hey,
subscribe.
Merry Christmas. Let us know your family traditions too. It's always fun to learn about other people's holiday traditions and all that. Also, shout out to Tofurkey for hooking us up with these awesome Christmas sweaters. I love this. It is perfectly
very
my
colorful.
style.
Yeah, very Chris.
And they're donating all of their proceeds to Wild Earth.
Wild Aid.
Wild Aid.
Yeah, we'll link it down below so you can read more about it if you want to check them out, purchase one for yourself. I highly recommend it. They're very cozy.
Oh, here's the back too.
May your holidays be merry and politically airtight.
We're not talking about politics here, so.
We are not. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. And we'll see you soon.
Yep, take care.
Bye.